Okay, guys, this is Unit 1, Lesson 9, solving with unlike mixed numbers. We're going to add and subtract when we have mixed numbers and talk about how we need to regroup or borrow and what that looks like with fractions. So here we have 7.5 plus 6 and 5/8. So what we need to do first is convert the halves to eighths by multiplying by 4. Four times 2 is 8. 4 times 1 is 4. 4/8 plus 5/8 is 9/8. Hopefully you know right away that's an improper fraction. 7 plus 6 is 13. But I have this improper fraction I have to deal with, which this equals 1 and 1/8. Add that to that 13, I get 14 and 1/8. And then this is my final answer. Okay? Moving on, on number 2, I need to find my common denominator again. I'm going to multiply by 4 up here because I know 20 is my common denominator. 5 down here because I know 20 is my common denominator. Okay? I get 12/20 and 5/20. 12 plus 5, 17/20. 5 plus 2 is 7, so 7 and 17/20, and that's my answer. Okay, let's try another one here. 8s. I see that I have 8s here. I have 5 and 3/8 and 2 and 3/4, so I can convert my fourths to eighths because I know my basic facts. Multiply by 2, I get 6/8, right? 3 times 2 is 6, 4 times 2 is 8, and now I can add. 6/8 plus 3/8 is 9/8. Okay, again, 9/8 improper fraction. It's 1, which equals 1 and 1/8. And then I'm going to add my 5 and my 2, which is 7, plus my 1 and 1/8, so 8 and 1/8. Okay? All right, let's try a subtraction one. When I look at this one, the first thing I see on number 4 is that it's 3 and 4/15 and 1 and 1/5. So I know 15ths is my common denominator, multiplying by 3. So 5 times 3 is 15. 1 times 3 is 3. So 4/15 minus 3/15 leaves me with 1/15. Remember, I only subtract numerators. 3 minus 1 is 2. So 2 and 1/15 then is my final answer. Let's go on and try a couple more subtraction ones. Let's come down here to number 7 because I've got lots of space here. I look at those and I see 6 and 12 and I go 12 is my common denominator. Multiply by 2. Okay, so I get 12s. 2 times 1 is 2. 2/12 minus 7/12. I can't do it. I have to borrow. So I'm going to borrow from the 8. The 8's going to become a 7. When I borrow in fractions, I'm borrowing 1 whole. Remember, 1 whole would be like borrowing 12/12 here. And then I'm going to add those two together, so I get 14/12. Okay, so now I'm taking 14/12 minus, over here, minus 7/12. 14 minus 7 is 7/12. And then 7 minus 2 is 5. So my answer is 5 and 7/12. Let's try another one. Let's try number 8 here. I look at number 8 and I see that it's 9 and 3. I know 9 is the common denominator because 3 times 3 is 9. So I get 6/9. Okay? 7/9 minus 6/9 is 1/9. 6 minus 4 is 2. So 2 and 1/9. That was a fairly fast one. Okie dokie. Let's go back up and try number 6 here. If you notice number 6, there's not really a good common denominator between 8 and 9. We don't have a good common denominator between numbers. Just multiply the 2. So you're going to do 9 times 8. Right? 9 times 8 is 72. And I know that's not the most friendly number to work with, but it'll be all right. And then 5 times, you're taking the 8 times 9. So 5 times 9 is 45. And then 72 is my common denominator. Can I take 8 70-seconds and subtract 45 70-seconds? Absolutely not. I've got to borrow that one. When I do that, I'm borrowing 72 70-seconds. So I'm going to take 72 70-seconds and I'm going to add that to 8. So I end up here with 80 70-seconds minus 45 70-seconds. Okay, so now I'm doing 80 minus 45, which is 35. So I get 35 70-seconds. And 0 minus 3 is 3. So here's my final answer. Okay, so it's just thinking about what can I use as my common denominator. Okay, so let's try this on the next one. Down here, let's go to the story problem. Last year my elm tree was 8 5/6 feet tall. This year it's 10 1/2 feet tall. How much did it grow in 1 year? So I know that I'm going to be subtracting. I'm going to take 10 and 1/12, and I'm going to subtract 8 and 5/6. Okay, I need to find my common denominator in order to do this. So I know my basic facts. I'm going to multiply 6 times 2 and 5 times 2 to get 12ths. So I get 10 12ths. I cannot subtract 10 12ths from 1 12th, so I have to borrow. So I'm going to make that a 9. When I borrow 12 12ths, which makes this a 13. So now I can do 13 12ths minus 10 12ths, which is 3 12ths. 9 minus 8 is 1. Those of you who are awfully savvy, you should be able to convert this fraction here. You should notice that they both have multiples of 3. They're both divisible by 3. So if I divide 3 by 3 and divide 12 by 3, right, I get 1/4. So my best answer here is 1 1/4 feet. Okay, that's how much that tree grew. Lewis rode his bicycle 2 3/10 miles before lunch. He rode 1 1/4 miles after lunch. How far did he ride altogether? So we're adding these two. Why don't you guys, this is the equation, 2 3/10 plus 1 1/4. Why don't you guys find that common denominator and work this out? Pause the video and then come back and check your answer. Why don't you also try, while you've got it paused, to work out number 9 up there, and then come back and check your answer. Okay, welcome back. Lewis rode, you should have found that 20 was your common denominator, so he rode 3 11/20 miles. Okay, so finding that common denominator, super duper important. If we look back at number 9, when you guys paused the video and did that, you should have gotten 2 5/14. Okay, remember when working with adding and subtracting fractions with or mixed numbers with unlike denominators, you need to make sure you find that common denominator first. Once you've found that common denominator, then you can add or subtract. If you're subtracting and the number you're supposed to be taking from, like on number 7, is less than what you need to take away, you have to borrow. But when we borrow with mixed numbers, we're borrowing 1 whole, which is a fraction. It's that same numerator over the same denominator. Again, like number 7, 12 over 12 was what we borrowed, because 12 twelfths equals 1 whole. We borrowed 1 whole from the 8. So remember that. That's really important.